All right, Shalom. Before I start, gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakachrash, the honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all of you like to Akim, Wa'akwath, learning, teaching, and truth and sincerity. Another video to the spirit, your brother Malak from GMS Detroit. Yeah, I'm out here walking, y'all, so there's gonna be a lot of background noise by a busy road, so Salakia. But just something that was on my mind. Man, I was watching a certain clip, I can't remember what. But Esau, Edom, right here I got this video, right? It says top 10 worst race riots in American history. Now right here, what they're mostly showing is protest. All right, so what we're gonna be doing is making the distinction between race riots and massacres and protests. Because Esau, Edom, you know, he wants to paint it as a race riot when niggas protest against, government corruption and police brutality, which we don't go join in. We understand what our lot is and what the rest of our people's lot is. But there's a difference between massacres and race riots. When niggas rebel and get angry and, throw a couple rocks or whatever, they don't go in and slaughter an entire town of people. But when you look at the so-called white man's history, whenever he's involved in a race riot, it turns into an actual massacre. These couple of little protests that have happened in the 2010s, y'all, don't compare to how this man displaced us. And so we're gonna go down the laundry list. The Ferguson riots, the little, St. Louis, all that doesn't compare to what this man has actually done. He's always trying to point the finger at us, right? Oh, niggas do this, niggas do that. Yeah, Jake shouldn't, tear up their own cities when they get angry. If you're gonna do anything, go tear up the enemy. But the fact that our people don't do that, it goes to show you, they know what they can and can't do. When Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, gets mad, he destroys the Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in their place of dwelling. This is why, one reason among many, we have no power in this country. Every time we try to establish ourselves and do the right thing, he quite literally came and bombed us, burned us, killed us, murdered us, raped us out of our towns. So this video right here, this is from 8 years ago. This one doesn't do a good job. What we're gonna do, go to a website that I found called The Black Past. It says racial violence in the United States since 1526. And what this website does is literally categorize, the major events of atrocities that the so-called white man, the biblical Edomites, has committed against the Israelites since we've gotten over here. So let's see what real race riots look like. They tell us we don't do anything, we didn't build anything, we're lazy. Every time we tried to build, they burned. Every time we had our own, they destroyed it. Why? Because this man is a jealous son of a bitch. So we'll start with the scripture. Now I want to get this example out of Exodus, because the spirit that was in ancient Egypt is the spirit that is in Babylon today. The heathen fear us, the Israelites, becoming too powerful up under them while in captivity. So what do they love to do? Set up traps and employ measures to wipe us out from power. Exodus 1, I'm going to start it straight at verse 8. It says, "Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land." So in ancient Egypt, the whole reason of Pharaoh slaughtering the firstborn and whatnot was to keep us from getting power. Fast forward to Yahushua's time. The whole point of Herod, committing the slaughter of the innocents, was to prevent the arrival of the Messiah. These heathen have every step of the way tried to make sure we never got to our feet, then at the same time point the finger at us. So right here it says, regrettably, racial violence has been a distinct part of American history since 1660, nigga, since day zero, since 1492, right, when Columbus started on Northern Kingdom. It says, while that violence has impacted almost every ethnic and racial group in the United States, it has had a particularly horrific effect on African American life and the Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because all three of us have been beat down by this man and his plots. It says, listed below are some of the major incidents of racial violence profiled on blackpast.org. Right, so we're going to jump down. We're going to be going to the section race riots, 1900 through 1960. And we have some other entries. We have revolts of the enslaved, right, which these are some good ones, because it was more than just Nat Turner's rebellion and the Haitian Revolution. Gabriel, it says Prosser there. Nat Turner, of course, New York City, slave uprising. So they got some good entries there, right? Many which we didn't learn about in school. Antebellum urban violence, so before the war, right before the Civil War. Cincinnati race riots, Pennsylvania Hall Fire, Civil War, Reconstruction, and post-Reconstruction era. So quite literally, y'all, during the war. But the main focus, I want to zero in on 1900 through 1960, because after we got out of slavery, things didn't get better for us. These people like to pretend like we didn't try to do anything for ourselves. We're dumb, stupid, ignorant niggas. We're the problem with this country. No, you're the fucking problem with the earth. You are the problem. And it's been more than just Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Rosewood, y'all. Look at all these entries. And there's more than this, but look at all these entries. You see Tulsa right there, of course. Let's just pick a random one. Let's see. Rosewood, of course. The famous, of course. Look at all this, man. Oh, you know they was getting down in Texas, boy. Elaine, that's a famous one. East St. Louis. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just looking through, man. This is history. Let's start at the top. The Atlanta race riot of 1906. Wow, and what do you see? I'm gonna save that. Immediately, y'all, you see a picture of Edomites killing Jake. Let's see. It says the Atlanta race riot, or Atlanta riot of 1906, was the first riot to take place in the capital of Georgia. The riot lasted from September 22nd to September 24th, and was a culmination of a number of factors, including lingering tensions from Reconstruction, job competition, black voting rights, and an increasing desire of African Americans to secure their civil rights. Right there. So envy and hatred. Esau didn't want us to have rights. He didn't want us to be able to vote. He saw us gaining power. What did he do? Come and destroy the town. Let's see. It says, I'm going to get right to it. I'll start it right here. Right, that's where I'm going to be starting from. It says the 1906 Goober National Campaign added fuel to the racial fire, as both the Democratic candidates, Polk Smith and Clark Howe, advocated disenfranchisement of all black voters in their respective newspapers on September 22nd. After 4 alleged sexual attacks on white women by black men were reported in the local white press, a mob of approximately 10 white men formed downtown. So, of course, they lied and said somebody went and touched Becky. And did nobody have to touch Becky against her will? Becky went nigga knocking, as they do. So 10,000 Edomites gather up. What do? It says the mob surged through Atlanta neighborhoods, destroying businesses and assaulting hundreds of black men. The violence became so dangerous that the state militia was called in to take control of the city. Still, some white groups persisted in attacking black neighborhoods, and black men organized to defend their homes and family. So right there, y'all, destroying homes, businesses, lands, property. 1906 Atlanta race riots, if you didn't know about that one. All right, Salakia, I wanted to get away from those generators for a second. But this is the next one, the Charleston, South Carolina race riot. Bingo. Hey, and y'all, this is why it says, here in America, y'all, let me get this. This place is drunk with the blood of the saints, of the Israelites. Revelation 17:6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. We know that the whore is America. All right, the saints represents the Israelites, the people who have made a covenant with the Heavenly Father. This land is spoiled and ridden with our blood since we've gotten here. These people have done nothing but use and abuse our minds and our bodies, right? Misdirected us from our power, and created the nigga, if you will, as it exists today. And then at the end of it, they step back and point the finger. Hey, our people gonna be judged, but Esau's gonna be judged too. He's not gonna get away with it. So coming back, another one. Hey, and this is, a little bit more slowed down lesson. We doing some reading. Read with a player. This is in 1919, and a lot of race riots happened in 1919. As you should know, what kicked them off in Chicago, right? AKA Red Summer. You had a lot of, Edomites we was going back and forth with Esau. After World War I, a lot of military black men came home and were dissatisfied with the treatment in the country and wasn't putting up with that bullshit. And whenever we, try to defend ourselves, Esau came gunning. It says the race riot of Charleston, South Carolina in 1919 was a part of a series of race riots that year known as the Red Summer. Bingo. The migration of blacks out of the South, the end of World War I, the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, the illnesses and near incapacity of President Woodrow Wilson, in the 1918 influenza epidemic that killed more than 600,000 in the United States led to widespread and social instability. Bingo. So, let's jump down. Let's see where to start at. Okay, it looks like we'll start here. And I'm only just reading the starting summaries. You can come to this website yourself, check them out, blackpass.org. It says at the time the riot, Charleston was a city of 80,000, more than half of whom were black. On the evening of May 10th, 1919, a black man allegedly pushed Roscoe Coleman, a white Navy sailor, off the sidewalk. A white crowd of sailors and civilians gave chase to the man who had escaped to a nearby house. A scuffle ensued where both sides threw bricks, bottles, and stones until 4 shots were fired into the air by a black man to disperse the crowd. Rumors immediately began to circulate of a sailor shot by a Negro. So right there, they lied. So Jake shot bullets into the air. He didn't hit nobody, but then they lied and said he shot a white man. So what's the response? Destroy an entire town. That's how these devils get down, y'all. They lie, they manipulate, then they triangulate and try to eradicate. That's how they do. These are not honest people. These are not a good people. They didn't gain power through honest means. They don't have capital over this world through honest means. These motherfuckers are butchers and slaughters, stealers, liars, thieves, murderers, rapists. You have it. The next one, it says rioting by white sailors, civilians, and a few soldiers and Marines soon began. The multiplicity of the crowd makeup adding further chaos and hysteria to the scene. A mob of sailors stole rifles from nearby gun clubs and began shooting blacks indiscriminately while robbing and vandalizing black-owned businesses. Along the way, blacks fought back. We're right here. Using firearms of their own, the rioting continued until around 3 a.m. when Charleston's mayor requested a detachment of U.S. Marines to restore order. In all, 5 white men and 18 black men were seriously injured, and the 3 black men, William Brown, Isaac Doctor and James Talbot died of gunshot wounds. So right there, another riot that we suffered. Our homes, our businesses destroyed, which is one reason among many why we have nothing again today. This happened all throughout the country, year after year. So I found this video real quick on YouTube. Something interesting right here, man. It says what? Legalized murder. When the purge happened in America, the Red Summer, 1919, y'all, that was a big year for wiping us, for taking away Israelite power in America. Our current circumstances are not by accident.
Purge out of necessity across the United States as riots surfaced. Multiple other major cities would report race riots in 1919 as well. Among these were Omaha, Nebraska, Elaine, Arkansas, and Charleston, South Carolina.
So these are some of the famous ones. Omaha. Hey, and you got, your boy Crawford is about to fight. Where's he from? Omaha, right? Charles, the elder Menata Zakba, he stays in South Carolina, right? These are places that we see our people still in today. Terrence grew up poor. If you know the boxer Terrence Crawford, right? I'm willing to bet you, and I don't know the nigga from a dime down the street, but I'm willing to bet you, his family felt some after effects of this. If we went and traced through the lines, all of our families did, because we're all here being oppressed together by Esau. Jeremiah 50, y'all. It didn't say, I'm sorry, give me 1 second, let me come back. It didn't say that we were going to be brought here and be living it up. This motherfucker brought us here and was whooping our ass here, y'all. Let me get am I gonna go 11 or 12? Okay, let me go 11. Revelation 11. Finally found some shade. Cool. Revelation 11. Yep, I'm gonna get verse 7. Revelation 11 and 7. So since the time that we've been kicked out of our holy land, right? Period, man. Yahushua came down here. He taught the disciples. He was crucified. The disciples became the apostles. They died brutally. Many of the believers, the Christians, were killed off. 70 AD occurs. We get banished out of Jerusalem. We end up concentrated in the west coast of Africa. We get our asses whooped there and out of Europe, brought to the Americas. So we've just been on the cycle of getting our asses dragged. Revelation 11 and 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. So we know that the beast empire rose out of Europe, right? The EU NATO, which is ruled over by the whore, America, that sits on top. And this man, every step of the way, has been whooping our asses throughout all the centuries, to where now, verse 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, and where also our Lord was crucified. So now we are here in the Americas. We are stripped of our identity, stripped of our nationality, given over to lewdness and sexual immorality, right? Our God, Yahweh, and his son Yahushua blasphemed us, not knowing who we are, in Babylon, in captivity. That's the estate that we have been beaten into, y'all. Not by accident.
During each of these, a disproportionate number of black people were killed and injured. Some newspapers suggested that the uprising and black resistance to white violence was being caused by Soviet and socialist propaganda.
And that's not true. Communism didn't have nothing to do with y'all were killing us. That's the reality of the situation. Hey, this is going to be a little bit longer of a video, y'all. I try to keep it around 20. Jake, short attention spans, but I'm just doing some digging. This is a part of the reason why we don't have anything. This is why, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, they have their grandparents' house, their great-grandparents' land. We don't have any of that. It was destroyed. It was burned. We were forced out of it. Your great-grandmama was a little girl running for her life. Your great-granddad got back from the war and was killed trying to defend his land. We didn't wake up like this. God damn it. Motherfuckers talk about some black fatigue. You can I ain't gonna say that, but you can go SND. You know what that mean, man. God damn it. These motherfuckers are liars, y'all. They're trying to rewrite history in front of us. This shit is crazy.
But it didn't take propaganda for black people to see what was happening all around them. A total of 3,436 people were lynched in the United States between 1889 and 1922.
And that's just on paper. You know it was more than that. That's just the ones they got in the newspaper, y'all. Stop playing.
3,038 of them were black. An October editorial in the New York Times proclaimed, "Persistence of unpunished lynchings of Negroes fosters lawlessness among white men imbued with the mob spirit."
So they keep getting away with it. So their spirit is that they gonna get away with it. And they do, y'all. They're not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued as other men. This is their kingdom. They do evil and nothing happens.
It creates a spirit of bitterness among Negroes in such a state of public.
The real black fatigue. We're the ones who are fatigued from our mistreatment in this raggedy bitch.
Mind, a trivial incident can precipitate a riot. In 1918, Representative L.C. Dyer of Missouri introduced the Dyer anti-lynching bill, the first of 200 anti-lynching bills to be introduced in the United States throughout the course of its history. But it is important to note that since 1918, no anti-lynching legislation has ever been passed. And as of this filming,
Oh, wow.
in 2021, still nothing.
And that's why, y'all, you'll be finding niggas randomly hanging from a rope. And the police won't investigate, they'll just decide it's a suicide. Now, you tell me how a nigga hung himself. Here it is, the average American, which Jake be strong, but the average American can't do 10 pull-ups. Dead set center, right there on the spot. How a nigga climb up one-handed with a rope, tie a good knot, secure enough to hold his body weight, throw it over, loop it through, then hang? Man, come on, man.
In 1939,
So point being, they're still hanging and lynching niggas to this day, and it's legal.
jazz singer Billie Holiday performed what would become an iconic song written by Abel Meeropol that captured the terror of black lynchings. Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
Yep, and that's a hell of a song. Everybody should know that. If you're an Israelite and you don't know that song, you bullshit. And that was a good movie too. Her little movie that they did like a year or two ago, maybe 2 years ago. The brothers, we had watched it. It was a damn good movie. Let me go get another clip though. I got a clip I'm gonna get off Instagram that I got last night, showing you how these Edomites get down. And, I'm out here walking, so I got all the time today. So I'm gonna let this clip play, y'all, and I might have to set the video to 18 and up because of this. I'm deciding it out of my head. I'm probably gonna go ahead and do that because you about to see a legit ass whooping. And even though all these people in this video are young, right? It's easy to say, oh man, they not hitting that hard. They about 12, 13. Y'all, look, you got 10, 15, 20 people hitting on you. It don't matter. Blows is blows. Back of the head, crotch, spine, places that ain't supposed to be getting hit. Shots that you don't see coming. Them are the ones that knock you the fuck out. You about to see this Jake get his ass fucking whooped, damn near thrown into a tree chipper, man. This is how these devils get down. See, they love to portray themselves as the beacon of light in society. but they're not, y'all. They're fucking they're blood hungry demons. Like it says in Revelation, these people are, oh, we already here, boom. Let me take it back. Revelation 6. Actually, no. I want to get Ezekiel. I remember now, because thou hast not hated. Let me get that actually. Yep, Ezekiel 36. I want to start at 6 specifically. It says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. We know that this is being aimed at the Edomites. We learn that right here in verse 3. These people don't mind shedding blood, meaning what? They love to shed blood, y'all. They love to kill. That's the white boy American spirit. Paint their face up, right? Rolling around with their guns, with their vest on. That's the spirit of the hunter. So this is in their culture. You go to Obadiah as well. They don't shy away from seeing their brother suffer. They love seeing the Israelites suffer. Let me get this verse. Yep, right here. When we were being displaced by the Babylonians out of Jerusalem, 586 BC, when Nebuchadnezzar finally broke through after during the siege. Come to find out, it was the Edomites who burned the temple, and they were there. And now these people claim to be our brethren. Would you not help your brother, y'all? If you saw your brother and his people being invaded and killed, would you not help them? Did he help us? No. Obadiah 1 and 10. It says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Right. Esau, you're going to have to pay for the things that you did to us. Despite that, you love to justify it. You call us intellectually inferior. We're criminals, we're this and that. Well, guess what, bitch? We're the Heavenly Father's chosen people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the biblical Israelites. We are God's chosen people. We are the true children of Israel. And you will pay for what you've done to us. You're going to pay for defaming us in the eyes of the world. Which is why, hey, y'all, you read in certain scriptures in Jeremiah and Ezekiel and Isaiah, hey, Zephaniah 3, our nation is going to be glorified in the eyes of the world. Why? Because we've been put down so bad and so low. This man has taught everybody that we're absolute pieces of shit. And it's just not true. Now, granted, hey, we sin, we're going the fuck off. The Heavenly Father is going to deal with the wicked of our people, but our original creation was for us to be chosen and be righteous and holy, which at a certain point we held, right? Esau has never held that. You've never been the good ones, nigga. You're the bad guys, all right? Coming back to verse 11. It says, in the day, damn, it's a loud ass street, boy. I tell you, boy. You can't even walk outside no more and enjoy peace and quiet, god damn it. Sirens, cars flying. I'm watching the bushes on my right, making sure a goddamn mountain lion don't pop out. God damn, boy. Verse 11. It says, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, thou wast as one of them. So Esau, Edom, and so-called white man, they love seeing the Israelites suffer. When the Babylonians sacked us, who was there? Happy. The Edomites. That's why whenever you see something pop up in the news, y'all go check the comment boards. What do you see? Good for that nigger. I didn't do nothing. We was kings. These motherfuckers love kicking a horse while he's down. What happened to the golden rule? I remember growing up and going, remember the golden rule, y'all, in school? Do unto others as you would to yourself, right? Show everybody respect. The so-called white man don't do that. He show up in your country, drop bombs on it, label you a T, slander you in the eyes of the world for eternity. Man, this nigga a hypocrite, man. Who are we playing? Verse 12, it says, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. That's what they do, y'all. They rejoice when they see us suffer. They're happy to see Israelites get treated like shit and killed, you know, so-called justifiably and unjustifiably, right? They love it. Now, let me let this video finally play, Salakia. Yeah, it's gonna piss you off. Sorry, I was just making sure my brightness was up.
Fuck that nigga.
Y'all heard that? He said, fuck that nigga. Now, I don't know where he's at. This is some kind of barn. I don't know. Y'all, that's why I don't be hanging out with groups of Edomites out in, you know what I'm saying, y'all? Hang out with brothers, bro. Fuck these people.
Nah, that kid tried to steal their gun. So I say fuck him.
Did the kid try to get you?
I didn't know what he did.
And I'm sorry, the funny thing, you can hear nigga music playing in the background. Right, I heard somebody say it sounded like Polo G. So they're listening to nigga music while trying to kill a nigga. Ain't that something?
They cooking motion.
They tearing his ass up, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. Man, that music got a demonic spirit on it, man. Them 808s get to banging, man, and beats is louder, and they just go. You see what I'm saying, man? But it is funny because hip hop music, as we know it today, you know, is a product of Edom that they gave to niggas. Esau is really about they love that demonic beat mashing music. That's why they love rock and shit so much. That goes back to the spirit of the Canaanites. They would roll around marauding. I said Cain, not Canaan. The Canaanites, when you read it in the Josephus, they would go from town to town, pillaging and destroying. That's what these people do. And it looked like Issachar came to save the day. So I don't know what the fuck was going on. It looked like maybe that was some sort of party, right, at the barn. Apparently this is out in Wisconsin somewhere, right? They got the tearing Jake ass up. And Issy had to come in for the rescue, showing you, you know, Judah and Israel pressed together, man. That boy could have fucked around and lost his life. He's not the biggest dude. And even if he was a good fighter, you can only fight so many people up off you, y'all. I'm telling you that as a martial artist, you can be as nice as you want to be. When you got 10, 12, 15 motherfuckers throwing blops on you, somebody gonna get you off your balance, get you to the ground, and it's gonna be short work after that, man. But this is what these people do. And they've painted us as the monsters. Meanwhile, they have a lineage of a history of evil. So I left that article alone for now, blackpast.org. You can type it up and find it. We got this right here, the Red Summer, the bloodiest racial conflict in American history. And it was more than just in Chicago, as we've learned. Right? It was more than just in Chicago, y'all. And I'll be ending it shortly, but I just wanted to highlight this. This country is bathed in our blood. And we're the descendants of these people. I want you to really let that soak in and sit in. There's a reason why you're desolate. We're the descendants of people who have been fucking beat, robbed, and spoiled. What does it say, matter of fact? In Isaiah 42, y'all? I'm fucking sweating now, man. Shit piss you off. It's fucking 10 in the morning. Got a nigga stressing. We're waiting to be justified and vindicated by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, y'all. Mistreated every step of the way. Isaiah 42 and 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth. For a spoil, and none saith restore. We have been beaten, broken, and downtrodden. Yeah, there's a couple of niggas, there's a couple of families that got it all right. A couple of niggas, uncles and granddaddies and pops and them became a lawyer or a judge. Well, what's a couple amongst hundreds of millions? The majority of us are in a down bad position. Many of us don't know our fathers. Many of us are disconnected from wealth and power, right? From what could have been. Went from 20 million acres of farmland down to less than 1 million. Lost 90% of our land in the span of less than 100 years. From 1900 to 2000, right? We've been completely stripped of everything here. These motherfuckers have us hostage and still make us the enemy. It's just crazy.
Welcome to One Mic, a Black History podcast. The Russian provincial government was made up of leaders of the capitalist class and the Bolshevik party, called the Soviet government.
Alright, Salaki, y'all. Coming back here.
The Bolsheviks led an armed insurgent communist state.
In which the Bolsheviks revolution, the elders have gone into that, the elders of Connecticut. That was basically Amalek taking over there, getting themselves established, in parts of Europe, which is why, not too long down the line, your boy the H-Man had to get active, but that's just a side note, tidbit.
Why is any of this important to the red rights? They believe explanation and the reason to justify their violence against blacks during the Red Summer. Welcome to the Red Summer, a series of race riots that took place over 36 cities across the
A series of race riots over 36 cities.
United States. James Whitney Johnson, who was the field secretary for the NAACP, called the violence of 1990 the Red Summer because it was so bloody. According to NAACP files, at least 38 large riots occurred over the course of 1919. The riots developed from a variety of forces, including the rise of Jim Crow, the demobilization of the United States Armed Forces following the end of World War I, an economic slump, and increased competition in the housing market and job market between whites and African Americans caused by the Great Migration. And while the racist attacks of 1919 were widespread and almost indiscriminate, in many places they were initiated by white servicemen and centered around the 380,000 black veterans who had just returned from the war. Because of their military service, black veterans were seen as a particular threat to Jim Crow and racial subjugation. Many of the black soldiers that returned from the war, armed with renewed determination to fight that discrimination against the near constant barrage of brutality.
When you've got smoke-free satisfaction, you've got the freedom to do things.
Determination to fight that discrimination against the near constant barrage of brutality. W.E.B. Du Bois, who at the time worked as NAACP's Director of Publicity and Research, penned an essay called Returning Soldiers, which encapsulated the issues faced by the black soldier returning home from World War I. W.E.B. Du Bois urged returning soldiers to continue the fight for democracy at home. We are returning from the war, the crisis, and the tens of thousands of black men that were drafted into the great struggle for bleeding in France, and what she means, and what it has meant, and what it means to us, and the humanity, and against the threat of German race arrogance.
So, let's see, this was an entire time period, y'all. Of course, we didn't learn about this in school. Just fast forwarding a little bit. Over 30-some, massacres broke out, y'all. And like I said, there's a difference between a race riot and a massacre. These were massacres. Getting butchered and killed and our cities burned down because we're defending ourselves is a fucking massacre.
Had different experiences from their counterparts in northern cities because the district was more of a middle ground between north and south. Newton Baker had reported to the president that the city was quieter than it had been, and anticipated no serious disturbances took place, and by Sunday evening of July 27th, the last of the troops were withdrawn from Washington. After 4 days of racist mob violence in Washington, D.C.
So this, you have one happen in D.C. I saw on that list back on that website.
An estimated 40 people were killed and hundreds more injured. The chaos was only quelled just in time for the riots to spread to the city of Chicago. It would be
boom, spread to Chicago.
difficult to discuss all the race riots that occurred during the Red Summer, but no riot expressed all the social issues that faced the nation like the Chicago riot of 1919. It was also the largest and the most serious, with rioting lasting almost 13 days. Chicago in 1919 was a sprawling city that epitomized America's new industrialism. It was.
So I'm just coming back to the website real quick to look at some of the 1919 ones exactly. Charleston, South Carolina, as we read earlier. Chicago, the famous one. We had learned about Washington. This is East St. Louis a year later. Elaine, Arkansas. A year prior, Houston. It says Houston, Mutiny of 1917. Knoxville, race riot. Let's see. It says this riot began August 30th, 1919, when an intruder entered the home of Bertie Lindsay, a 27-year-old white woman, and shot her while she was asleep in her bed. The only witness was Lady Lindsay's 21-year-old cousin, Ora Smith, who soon after the intruder left their Knoxville home, says stealing a purse on his way out, ran next door to the house of the city policeman. One of the officers investigating says immediately accused Maurice Mays. Maurice didn't do that shit, bro. Says he's a well-known political figure. Annie says what? Annie served as a deputy sheriff in North Knoxville. Why would a former deputy and a politician be breaking in and shooting white women in their sleep? He just wanted a reason. So that kicked off that massacre. You see this silly shit, y'all? Longview, Texas race riot. So this is how they get down, man. I'm gonna be making an end here, y'all, because I could literally do this all day. This is their nature. This is how they get down. They're not a good people. They're not a righteous people. They're not a holy people. They're demons. Salakia for all the background noise, y'all. Yeah, man, this should Esau's gonna have to pay for this. As a matter of fact, we'll go to that second address. The Heavenly Father sees all this bloodshed, and He's gonna avenge us. We come here to this second address 15 and 8. It says, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and will receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. So this is coming to the new Egypt, to America. Our blood will be avenged, y'all. This man is lied, butchered, murdered, raped, robbed, destroyed, you fucking name it. But we will be avenged, y'all. From the blood of Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, which was slain between the altar and the temple. Like it tells us in Luke. These motherfuckers gonna have to pay. Alright, so that's it. And give all praises to Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakakwarash, the honors to the elders and apostles. And great millstone, peace, blessings, and salutations to all the like Akim wa Aqua. Learning and teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom.